Evil doesn't always knock. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it waits in plain sight, just beyond a fence, behind a shed, beneath the surface of suburbia. This is not a horror movie. This is not a nightmare. This is reality, and it unfolds in the shadows. For 18 long years, a girl named Jaycee Dugard vanished from the face of the earth, stripped of her childhood and hope. But she was never truly gone. She was hidden, confined in a backyard, a faceless prisoner in a world that forgot her existence, held captive by a violent predator, a convicted rapist, abused, controlled, silenced. Yet somehow she endured the unthinkable. This is the harrowing, yet ultimately inspiring true story of how a young girl faced unimaginable darkness and emerged into the light once more. Jaycee Dugard was just an 11-year-old girl. With a gap-toothed smile, a well-worn pink backpack, and an exuberant spirit, she lived in a world filled with possibilities. She spent her days drawing butterflies, climbing trees, and exploring the woods behind her house, her only care being the fleeting moments of childhood. But on that fateful morning, everything changed. As she walked the familiar path to her school bus stop, a gray car pulled up beside her. In an instant, a woman opened the door, and a man, Philip Garrido, ambushed her with a stun gun. Jaycee collapsed. Panic surged through her veins as the man scooped her away, while her stepfather, Carl Probin, watched in horror from the garage. He chased after them on his bike, heart racing, but it was already too late. Carl Probin. I never stopped blaming myself. I saw her, and I couldn't stop it. A statewide manhunt exploded. Helicopters swarmed overhead, search dogs scoured the terrain, hastily printed flyers plastered every surface. Thousands of leads emerged, but none led to Jaycee. She was gone. Philip Garrido, now revealed as a monster, was a convicted sex offender with a chilling history. He had previously served 11 years in prison for kidnapping and raping a woman in the 1970s, a crime that should have barred him from freedom. So how did someone like him walk free? Court records show he exhibited signs of psychosis, heard voices, and claimed to speak with angels. Yet despite these red flags, officials let him out on parole. Why? Because the system failed. And now, the same darkness that had once captured him was ready to ensnare Jaycee. His wife Nancy, once a church-going nurse's aide, morphed into his sinister accomplice. Together, they ensnared Jaycee in an elaborate web of lies and deceit. She was their target. Nancy lured her in while Philip locked her in, transforming her into a ghost, a whisper of the girl who had once filled the world with light. Behind the Garrido house in Antioch, California, lay a hidden compound, a labyrinth of sheds and makeshift living spaces, camouflaged from the prying eyes of the street. That became Jaycee's prison. Everything that defined her was stripped away: her name, her childhood, her identity. Jaycee Dugard, memoir. I was no longer Jaycee. He renamed me Alyssa. I didn't exist anymore. The shed was dark, a claustrophobic, windowless dungeon where light and hope were banished. Inside, she found only a thin mattress on the floor and a bucket. No signs of love or safety, just despair. Within hours of her abduction, she was savagely attacked and terrified into submission. Philip coerced her with threats, saying she could never go home. Jaycee. He told me if I screamed, someone would die. I believed him. At just 14 years old, Jaycee found herself in labor. This time, it wasn't a joyous moment. It was a terrifying culmination of her captivity. In a cold shed, no hospital, no doctors, no comfort, she gave birth to her first daughter, a child born into a horrific reality. Nancy, the woman who had helped abduct her, played the role of midwife, guiding the terrified girl through the ordeal. Jaycee eventually gave birth to a second daughter, both children growing up in the shadows, blissfully unaware of the darkness surrounding them. They thought Jaycee was their older sister, shielded from the truth. Philip, playing the part of a caring father, walked his daughters around the neighborhood, letting them laugh and play, while Jaycee remained hidden, still locked away, a ghost in her own home. In the years that followed her abduction, Garrido's parole officers visited his home more than 60 times. Yet shockingly, not once did they check the backyard, a crucial oversight that would go on to haunt investigations long after Jaycee's rescue. In 2006, a concerned neighbor reported suspicious activities, tense and odd noises coming from the property. In 2008, a police officer stepped onto the land but left without understanding the true horrors lurking just a few feet away. Government Report, 2010. There were multiple missed opportunities to discover the victims. As years melted away, Jaycee continued to wait, bound by fear and despair. She could only watch as the world moved on without her. Jaycee. Hope is a cruel thing when you're in chains. Garrido didn't merely imprison Jaycee. He meticulously indoctrinated her, brainwashing her to fit into his warped view of reality. Claiming to receive messages from God through a box, he manipulated her mind, reading Bible verses and playing mind games designed to strip her of her will. He instilled in her the belief that the outside world was rife with danger. Jaycee. I forgot what freedom felt like. I forgot what my mom looked like. Over time, she and the girls became accustomed to the confines of their little world. They celebrated Christmases and birthdays behind the walls of silence, Jaycee playing her role as a doting mother while obeying Philip's oppressive rules. Even when visitors came, she smiled through the facade. FBI report. Victims in long-term captivity often develop survival mechanisms resembling obedience. This is not consent. This is trauma. August 24th, 2009. On this fateful day, Philip brought Jaycee's 2 daughters to UC Berkeley, their future as uncertain as the past. As they wandered, campus officers Lisa Campbell and Allison Jacobs took notice. The girls looked frail, confused, ghosts of innocence wandering in a world they didn't understand. When questioned, they had no knowledge of school, of what a normal life should entail. Concerned, the officers alerted the parole department, calling attention to the strange dynamics at play. Just 2 days later, the Garridos were scooped up for a routine check. There was Jaycee, still calling herself Alyssa, trapped in a cycle of fear and obedience. Parole officer. She looked at me, and I saw something break inside her. After grueling hours of questioning and nothing short of a miracle, Jaycee finally mustered the courage to speak out. Jaycee, quote, I'm Jaycee Dugard. I've been kidnapped. After 18 agonizing years, Jaycee's nightmare came to an end as she was finally reunited with her mother. The world had held its breath, and now it exhaled in a collective gasp of disbelief. Her daughters, aged 11 and 15, met their grandmother for the first time. A poignant moment where boundaries of love and memories blurred in a surreal embrace. Terry Dugard, her mother. She never stopped being my little girl. I always believed she was out there. Philip and Nancy Garrido were arrested, facing a justice system that would finally hold them accountable. They were both sentenced to life in prison, but for Jaycee, the real battle was just beginning. The state of California awarded her a $20 million settlement, a mere token in the face of an unimaginable ordeal. But more than anything, she reclaimed her voice. In 2011, Jaycee released her memoir, A Stolen Life, which rocketed to the top of bestseller lists, resonating with readers around the globe. She spoke of her journey, her courage becoming a beacon for those who felt lost. Fueled by her experiences, she founded the Jaycee Foundation, dedicated to supporting victims of trauma and abduction. She embraced public speaking, sharing her story not as a victim, but as a survivor with a newfound strength. Jaycee Dugard. I lived the impossible, but I'm still here, and I choose to live. Jaycee Dugard's story serves as a stark reminder. Sometimes the monster lurking isn't under the bed. It's the person next door. And sometimes survival isn't just a fleeting moment. It's a grueling battle fought every single day against despair, doubt, and fear. Jaycee. No one can take your inner freedom. Not forever, not if you choose to rise. If Jaycee's unbreakable spirit moved you, if her journey ignited feelings of anger, sorrow, or renewed hope, please share her story. Tell someone who needs to hear it, for somewhere out there, another girl waits for her chance, just as Jaycee once did. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life stories that remind us of the resilience of the human spirit and the fight for freedom.